PA school admissions expert, one of the top questions I get asked every day is, how long and how should I prepare for the GRE? Well, today I am going to give you a 3-month study plan to do just that. But before we get into it, hello and welcome. I am Michelle Neske, the Posh PA school admissions expert. All right, so let's talk GRE. Over half the programs in the country require the GRE for entrance to a PA program. They do this to assess your readiness for master's level coursework, and doing well on the exam can improve your overall application. It also improves your access to programs, as a lot of them around the country require it. So it's important to consider taking it on your PA school journey. Now, as we move into this study plan, I want you to know that this might look different for everyone based on your learning and skill level. But the number one thing I recommend in month 1, so this is a 3-month study plan, right? So in month 1, the very first thing I want you to do in that first week is take a practice exam. Why? Because taking a diagnostic test can identify your strengths and weaknesses and help you hone in your study strategies. And luckily, I have a free full-length Magoosh GRE practice exam for you, linked in the description below, created by today's sponsor of this video, Magoosh. Now, I have been recommending Magoosh for over 5 years for my pre-PA students on their journey to becoming a PA. Why? Because they have a robust question bank, over 1,600 questions, full-length practice exams, and on-demand classes for you. They also have a very ambitious improvement guarantee. You get 5 points or better or your money back. Not only that, you can do it anywhere at any time from any mobile device, laptop, or desktop. So it makes it very easy and accessible for students to do this on the go. Now, the free GRE practice test that is linked in the description below comes with an accurate score prediction and subject by subject performance breakdown. And this test can be taken in separate sections in 30 minutes. So you could do the verbal in 30 minutes and the math in 30 minutes, or you can do the whole thing in just 1 hour. Hello, that's amazing, right? So I highly recommend taking this Magoosh practice exam, again, linked in the description below. That will really help you identify areas you need to improve. And in the second half of month 1, in weeks 3 and 4, you're gonna focus on those weak areas, right? So if you're weaker on the verbal reasoning section, you're gonna expand your vocabulary using flashcards and practicing reading comprehension. And if you're weaker on the quantitative side, you're gonna practice math problems, problem solvings in a prep program like Magoosh. So really important to do that in month 1, and don't forget to check out that free Magoosh exam in the description. In month 2, it's going to be all about practice, 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 practice questions, practice tests, focusing on one section each week. So for verbal reasoning, practice test completion and sentence equivalence questions daily, okay? For quantitative reasoning, you want to solve a variety of practice problems and then review your mistakes. In weeks 3 and 4 in month 2, you're going to focus on analytical writing, which is the 3rd section of the exam. You're going to practice writing essays, focusing on structure, and really defining those essays clearly and effectively. You're also going to get feedback from your essays from peers or online resources like ETS Score It Now to evaluate your writing. So ETS Score It Now will give you feedback on your essays for the analytical component. So really important to think about that as well. Now, as you move into month 3, we are going into final prep month, okay? In weeks 1 and 2, you want to start with full-length practice exam under timed conditions to simulate the actual test experience and review your results thoroughly so you can identify areas that still need improvement. You then in week 3 want to do a more targeted review and focus on your weakest areas first. If you're struggling with specific types of questions, you're going to review those concepts and practice more problems, continue practicing analytical writing, and continue getting feedback on those essays from your peers. So important. Now, week 4 is going to be your test week, right, of month 3, because you are done. This is your 3-month study plan. You've done everything that you need to do, right? Test week. Take a few days off before the exam to relax, clear your mind, ensure you have your materials ready, Make sure you have your ID, your test confirmation, you know where you're going, you have a map, you have a timeline, right? Get a good night's sleep before test day. Eat a healthy breakfast. Don't do anything you normally wouldn't do on test day. If you're not a runner, don't decide to go for a run the morning of your exam, okay? You want to keep this as easy as possible. Don't go out to a fancy dinner the night before or anything like that. Have a nice, easy dinner, go to bed early, get good sleep, get up and do your thing. So important to think about this timeline as you are moving into the PA school application cycle. Why? Because if you need a 3-month prep program, then you're gonna need to factor that into your application timeline. So if you're somebody that's applying in the 2025 cycle, then you may want to be thinking about taking the GRE in the winter of 2024 or first thing after the new year in 2025 to give yourself that 3-month study plan. And that all starts again with that free exam that you'll see linked in the description. So it's really important to factor that in to your PA school application timeline. You also want to make sure that you're researching your programs. There are programs out there that do not require the GRE. So a very important thing to note when you are going to take the exam, as you are going to be sending your scores to these programs, okay? So you want to be able to know what the programs require, not just their prerequisites and deadlines, but also they require the GRE or not. You also, in your application timeline, will be asking for letters of recommendation and all of those fun things that I've talked about on a lot of my other videos. And so you need to kind of incorporate this into your process. Now, I always recommend prepping a year in advance to apply for your PA school application. Why? You might think that's crazy, right? Because you have to factor in all of these things. You have to give yourself time for research. You have to give yourself time for test prep. You have to give yourself time to collect your letters of recommendation, to write your personal statement, to write out all your experiences and descriptions. It's really important to have a solid timeline for that. And you can always book a session with me or one of my experts on my website at michellenesky.com. I also have a full comprehensive program called the PA Admissions Accelerator that you can also look into to help you along the way. Now, before you start your application, your actual CASPA application, you want to make sure that you have all of your pieces lined up, okay? So when you go to submit your application, you have a complete application in CASPA with all the parts. You have all your letters of recommendation in, you have your personal statement in, you have your programs chosen, you have your supplemental essays written, you have your GRE done, right? You go into the CASPA application, you do all this. Let's say you're about 3 months from the program's deadline. You want to make sure that you're submitting your GRE scores to the programs you're applying to and double check the deadlines to make sure your scores are received on time. Okay, so really important to remember to do that. You just prepped for 3 months for the exam. You took the exam and then you've been prepping for an entire year to apply to PA school, right? You don't want to miss a deadline because they're waiting for your GRE score. So a really important thing to know. Now, I will say this. Program deadlines are very variable. Some are rolling, some are fixed. So I always recommend to apply earlier in the cycle than later, right? So the PA school application cycle typically opens at the end of April. If you can get your application in by, June, that's amazing. So let's say you're applying in June, right? Then you want to make sure that you're submitting your GRE scores at least in April or before that, okay? So really important to do that. You want to make sure that your entire application is complete. What do I mean by that? You don't want to, let's say that you're somebody who is still taking classes before you apply to PA school. One thing you need to do is make sure that your programs are going to allow prerequisites pending. If they don't allow, then you will have to complete those courses before you submit to that program. If you want your grades to count in your GRE calculation, then you want all your grades in there before you actually submit your application to be verified. So it's something really important to know. You also want to make sure all the sections of your application are complete. You have at least 3 letters of recommendation in there. Your personal statement meets the criteria. You've completed any additional essays or any additional questions that the programs may require before you're ready to hit that submit button, okay? Then when you do that, you go into the verification process. Once your application has been verified by CASPA, it gets sent to the programs. And then what are you doing? You are prepping for interviews for when you get one, okay? Interview prep. I have a whole video series on that on my YouTube channel. I will say this, the best way to practice for interviews is by practicing questions out loud. And so it's really important to do that along the way. I hope that this video really helped give you an idea of how to prep for the GRE, as well as the timeline in which to prep for the GRE for aspiring PA school applicants. And I hope that you remember that preparation and timing are really the key to success. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to click subscribe. I'm here every month dropping new videos for you to help you along your PA school journey. I will see you next time.